I'm Jason Cook. With over 20 years of experience as a professional trainer, coach, and clinician in the equine industry, I've had the privilege of dedicating thousands of hours to perfecting my craft. Now I'm excited to share my expertise with you through this podcast. We will explore some of my past experiences as well as those of other individuals to provide you with a wealth of knowledge and insights to enhance your journey. Whether you are a novice or an experienced horseman, this podcast will offer valuable perspectives to help you achieve success. All right, we're ready.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Today I have Bronc Evans here. He's a son of good friends of mine, Mandy and Jimmy Evans. Jimmy, I've got a backstory a little bit with him. When I first got into horses in around 99, 2000, I met Jimmy, and that's where kind of I started my horsemanship journey. And now, years later, we have his son here who has been quite a roper all of his life. How old are you now?
14.
14.
Yes, sir.
You know, time flies. Time flies. So, Bronc, what events do you rope in? And then we're going to go to where you got started.
So, growing up, I always did like everything, all the events. And then when I got a little older, I kind of did the calf roping a little more. Mm-hmm. And then did that for a while. And then now I'm kind of in the team roping, and I mainly just head and heel.
Head and heel? No rough stock?
No rough stock.
Is there going to be any of that in the future?
No, none at all.
None of that? All right. So when did you first pick up a rope? Because ever since I can remember, if I ever came over, which was not a lot when you were little, but you were always roping.
Yeah, I'd say first time I ever picked one up is when I was born.
When you were born?
Yeah.
Yeah, swinging the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's your first memories of it? Like roping a dummy or something?
Well, this wasn't the first time I ever swung a rope, but I always remember being real little, like my grandpa had me some bottle fed goats, and I would chase them around everywhere. Yeah. And that was my first memory of like actually catching something that was alive.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. And so you've had some mentors in the past, and we want to talk about some of your mentors that you've had, and I'm sure there'll be many more in the future. So let's talk about some of your mentors and where you've drawn some of your skills from.
Yes, sir. In the calf roping, when I was probably 7 or 8, just kind of starting to get into it, a good friend of ours, Roy Creed, who's now passed, he helped me a lot in the calf roping and like got my horses better, got me better, and he's really who got me winning in the calf roping. Yes, sir. What
was the biggest takeaway you got from him?
Oh, there was a lot of them. Mainly just like he was always in your corner. Like that was the biggest deal, is he sounded like he was yelling at you because he had the raspiest voice, but he was never getting on to you. He wanted you to understand what he was saying, and that's important because a lot of times people get mad when you can't understand it, and he was always just real helpful with letting you understand everything.
Mm-hmm. And when did you start with him? How old were you?
Probably 7 or 8.
Okay.
And then Telly passed away. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And he was local. He wasn't far from here, right?
Yes, sir. He was in Aurora, so probably 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. We went every day. Every day. And if my dad couldn't take us, he would come get us.
Yeah. And that's when you were kind of doing the breakaway and looking towards the calf roping a little bit?
Yes, sir.
And so now you've kind of transitioned a little bit over into team roping mostly, right?
Yes, sir.
And you head and heel.
Head and heel, yes.
And your partner in crime over there that comes by and ropes with you a lot for practicing, I know Chris comes over. I have Chris Shore here too, and he's been on other episodes. And Chris ropes a lot with Bronc also. I hope to do more of it, maybe if I ever swing a rope again.
We invite him every time we rope, and he never comes. He'll be like, oh, I might swing by. He never comes.
Yeah. Well, that's changing in February. You have to hold me to it, okay? Because I have one of you guys' colts, and I have another outside horse I want to get started, and I'm looking forward to it. Yes. So when you started heeling, who kind of influenced you on that, and who have you drawn from on that?
Who I've drawn from a lot in my healing lately is Marty Becker. He's been helping me a bunch, and I rope with his son Tufton, and he has really helped me step up my game and my healing. Yes, sir.
What's the hardest thing about healing?
Probably dallying.
Dallying?
The catching's not very hard, but the dallying is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so on the heading part, I know you head also.
Yes, sir.
So where have you drawn some stuff from that?
I've always headed. From when I was little boy first starting out, I always wanted to heel, and my dad would never let me. I begged him, and then finally I got big enough, and he started letting me heel. And heading, I'm more into the heeling. I don't really take the heading too seriously, but eventually I would like to get good as I can with both of them, you know.
And what number are you?
I'm a 6 header, 4+ heel. No, 6 healer, 4+ header.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you just recently got bumped, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Yeah. And you've been out west. I think we'll get into that a little bit later, but you just came back from a big stint out in Arizona and Vegas, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So when you team rope, I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand what it takes to get better at something, and they want to be better, but they don't understand how much time. So on average, providing it's not 5 degrees outside like it is right now,
Yeah.
but how many hours a day or how many days a week do you normally team rope?
On a regular week, if I'm not at a jackpot, I will be roping about every day.
Every day.
Especially in the summer, I rope every day.
Okay. And you have several horses you rope on?
Yeah, I probably have 10 or 11.
Split head and heel horses?
Mainly heel, like
Mainly
3
heel.
or 4 head, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, you like heeling quite a bit better, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to find you a header to come practice than a healer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll even talk him into healing for me.
Yeah.
When he's desperate.
That's good for him. So when did Chris start coming over? When did you guys actually meet? Because I don't even remember.
When we met, I was about knee-high to a grasshopper, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He roped with my dad.
And that was before the indoor barn. And,
Yep.
I mean, he was riding a pony, I think, then.
Yeah, we have videos of the first steer I ever roped off of a horse, and it was Chris was loping his horse around in the back.
Yeah.
He was there the first night.
Yeah.
Now, was this when you still had your outdoor pen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, because you've only had the indoor for how long now?
Probably 4
Has it
four
been
years.
that long?
Yep, 4 years.
Okay. And before that, you guys had an outdoor pen out here.
Yes, sir.
And I think you roped in it and had lime screenings and stuff and kept a lot of cattle.
Yep.
Yeah. How many cattle do you guys have right now? To be able to rope that much, I know it takes a lot of cattle. So how many do you run?
Probably about, I think I have 75 or 80
Yeah.
roping steers that are all pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully you do or don't have to run them back through.
Yeah. Well, we run them back through most of the time, 2 times probably
Yeah.
on a big day.
On a big day.
Well, I'd like to interject on the time spent because he didn't elaborate on the fact that when he's not team roping, he's in the living room roping a dummy.
Yes.
He's roping goats, and then when he's eating lunch, he's watching videos of team roping.
Yes.
So it's like 12 hours probably a day when you factor all of that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could, if there's some other young individual out there that wants to get into this, what would be some advice you'd give them?
Buy you an old campaigner horse and don't be afraid to ask somebody for some help.
Yeah. And so why would you need the old campaigner horse?
Because if y'all are both trying to learn at the same time, it does not work good.
It doesn't work well,
It
does
does
it?
not work. Only one of y'all can be freaked out at a time. And it's going to be you all the time.
And you guys raise horses here too?
Yes, sir.
And what's the name? Is it J Bar E?
No, Bar J.
Bar J E.
Yes,
I
sir.
always say that wrong. I'll get in trouble for that.
Yeah, he's sitting right there. Better pay attention.
I'll have to edit that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bar J.
Bar J E. Yes. How many head of horses do you run?
Oh, probably 30 or 40 mares and 4 studs.
4 studs?
Yep.
Yep. And I know I've got one in training that I'm riding right now. Hopefully it'll be in the rope circle for you here in the next year or 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Be a good one.
Yeah, it's just it's 3 now.
3, yep.
Yep. I keep calling it 2-year-old, but it's January now.
Yeah.
So when you practice, talk a little bit about what you're focused in on. I mean, so when you practice, obviously you probably practice with a purpose. So what do you kind of hone in on when you're set? We'll just go to heading first.
Well, mainly I don't head just awful too much, but when I do, I try to practice on like getting my horse's scoring sharp. And then what I'm always trying to work on is like I'm always trying to shorten up the time from when the rope hits the horns to when I have contact of him. Not like you can't rope and duck out, but like rope and get a hold of the steer and control him as soon as you can. And I think that's where you can shave a lot of time off.
And so where the steer's ropeable for the heeler quicker.
Yeah.
And sooner. So talk a little bit about why the score is so important.
Well, which now the World Series, you ain't really got to score too good, but still, like, it's just really good to when you back in there and you know your horse is going to stand in there and give you an honest go. They've got to give you an honest go every time.
And you can focus on what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you're trying to be, I mean, what's the most of the ropings you get in, what do you need to be on a four-header?
Man, I normally only rope in like the high-numbered head and the high-numbered ones, and you need to be 7 on all of them. And most of the time they're little faster steers and trying to outrun you. So, which you can run them. The good thing about them little steers is they're like fast hitting, and so you can run them a long ways and be 6. It is for me, it's way easier to be fast on a like faster, slower, or like smaller built steer than them big slow steers, you know. Just because them slow ones, when you rope them, they kind of want to follow, and you cannot heel a steer correctly when they are following and don't have the head rope tight. Where them little steers, they run to the end of the rope and then hit and hop across, and you can heel them faster.
So what's kind of the perfect steer for you in your wheelhouse to be the best on, and then what's one that maybe you know some people have trouble with them when they run left, some of them have trouble when they step right. So what's your deal?
I just think the main thing with the steer is that they run with their head up, so your header can like not have to ride all the way to them, and then when you bend their head, they like keep their head bent and don't try to fight it. When they fight it right there, their hips go in, and it's either a low percentage shot or you got to track them until your header gets a hold of their head and gets their hips back out and rounded. But like if when the head rope comes tight, they try to like fight their head, it's really hard to heel them.
What about you, Chris? You think that's...
Yeah, and I mean, I try to get Bronc when we practice to tell me, and he's better at doing that maybe now, you know, but I want to know. And, you know, I was thinking when you asked the question, though, I'm like, I'm kind of curious how he's going to answer it, because he kind of catches 2 feet no matter what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
He's pretty salty.
Yeah. And we'll go to the healing side since we're talking about it. So when you're healing a lot and practicing, what are some of the, you know, top maybe 3 things that you're focusing on there?
Mainly when I'm heeling, I mean, you're always focused on keeping your horse framed up and coming up through the corner and listening to you. But I just try to, 1, be consistent. You can never be too consistent. And 2 is just like, now, like if Chris comes over and practices, I can like track around there and I can just catch about every steer. And now I'm trying to like ride my horse for a better spot to throw faster, but also ride him to a spot to where I can just push through it all the way across the arena and heel him whenever I want. Make more high percentage shots instead of just 2 or 3 farther across the pen.
So talk a little bit about the frame up. So when a horse becomes unframed there, where does it happen at, and what is the horse actually doing?
Yeah, so like when you have your horse framed up, you want their head to the left and their shoulders their left shoulder up. And that's what I call framed up, coming around the corner. And if you have a horse that like wants to drop their shoulder and kind of take their head to the right, it takes your sight away from the cow. Like when they're framed up, you can always see the cow coming through the corner, so you know like how to time them up and when to throw. Which when they like aren't really framed up and they're wanting to cut the corner, and they're not listening to you. They're not holding out waiting for you to tell them. They get you too far to the inside, or their head's just in the way and you can't see them, and you got to track them across there until you can see them.
And takes more time.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Well, it seems like you do practice with a purpose. I mean, you don't just go out there and run a lot of steers. And
Yes,
I find that in the past when I was around it a little more, that a lot of people just go out and they just kind of, they don't know if they got better or not. They just ran 15 steers.
Yes, sir. A lot of the time, what I see is when people come and practice, like headers especially. Heelers, a little different, but headers, like, they'll just back in there and they'll just nod and go every time. And then when they go to the roping and they break out, they don't know why. Because when you practice, you don't practice seeing what you want to see. Like, every time I back in the box, I pick out what I want to see on that cow, which I know all mine, but still, I try to pick out a point and see that and go, instead of just backing in there and just nodding and going,
And that's how you practice on the barrier. Now, do you guys have a barrier?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys, is there any times when you guys practice that, like moving it forward and backwards or anything? Don't mess with that a lot?
Not really, because if you pick out what you want to see and you see it, the only way you should break the barrier when you know what you want to see is if your horse didn't score, which you need to score after that, or you just left too soon. It's your fault. So you just need to correct it on the next one and focus on watching the cow better.
So back again to someone that's wanting to get into this, whether they're young or old, because Chris, you didn't start till how old were you?
I was 37.
He was 37 when he started, and he's left-handed.
Yeah, I am too.
Yes, and you both are natural lefties,
Yes,
and
sir.
learned to. Your dad didn't let you swing
No,
with the
my
left
dad
hand.
did.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, if I had a rope in the left hand, he slapped it out and put it in the right.
Yeah, so you're doing it this way.
Yeah.
So you do pretty much everything else left-handed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
eat, everything.
Yeah. Throw a ball
I
left-handed?
throw a ball right-handed.
Do you?
My left arm's not very strong.
Yeah. Well,
Just from roping.
Yeah, it doesn't get as much work, does
No,
it?
it does not get near as much work.
So say a day that's really cold and stuff, and say you rope the dummy. So what's your practice look like on the dummy if you still rope? I assume you still rope the dummy also.
Yes, sir. I have one of those, like, just heel dummies that just stand there, basically like a sawhorse. I don't know the name. And my biggest deal is just trying to get about 15 to 20 loops in, because I feel like if you rope the dummy too much, you can create bad habits and get lazy. So I just try to, like, solidly put big gates down there and pull my rope across their back and just set big gates down there 15 or 20 times and try not to overcomplicate it.
Now on your heeling, are you more of a, I've heard that there's people have different theories on whether you're roping the feet out of the air or you're setting traps. So what's your outtake on that?
Yeah, I think, depends on the cow. If you have a true honest cow, you should be able to put a trap down there. And sometimes the cows are a little dirty and you don't know if they're going to give you that next hop. So you kind of got to watch that. Like, when you're coming through the corner, if you think the cow is just going to be honest and come across there, you can just really open up and set a big trap down there. Or if the cow's kind of fighting it and fighting his head and his feet are going all different directions, you might need to kind of hustle it down there and get him on the jump you see. Because when I'm trying to time a steer up, I time them off the jump before. So when I see their feet come back that time, I'll start bringing my loop around for the last one, and then just like that. But on dirty cows, you almost need to be swinging fast, and then when you see the start of that jump, you need to heel them like out of the air, like you're talking about. Yes, sir.
I see. So you practice a lot, and you're on the road a lot too.
Yes, sir.
How many weekends a year?
Oh,
How many weeks a year? Let's just do that, because you're homeschooled, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how many. If we're home, I think we were home one weekend last year. Just one. I don't know how many weeks, but I think we was home 1 or 2 weekends.
Yeah, and the reason I could come over here today is because it is very cold. It was 11 in the barn this morning.
Yes, sir.
And so I was not going to ride any horses.
Yeah.
And it's not a weekend, so
No.
you're home.
Yes, sir.
And when are you heading out again?
we got just some jackpots around here all this rest of January, and then February we're spending the whole month in Arizona.
Which you just got back from.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So you guys went out west, and now you went to Arizona, then to Vegas?
Yes, sir.
And it was right around the NFR, a little bit before the NFR, then during?
right during.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's talk about, before you went to the NFR, let's talk about going out to Arizona and kind of what you did out there, what you roped in, and where you stayed and all that.
Yeah, so we left, I think, November 2nd, and, November 20th, and we stayed 3.5 weeks in Arizona, and then we moved on to Vegas, and then while we were in Arizona, we stayed with my dad's cousin, Cody, from North Dakota. He's rented a place out there, and so we stayed with him and just roped, and he had some goats. We roped goats and jackpot every day.
Now, was this your first trip out there to do this?
No, sir. We've went the 2 years before.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've went a couple of years out there. Okay, so every day you went to jackpots. And you're in the high number ropings, right? Mostly.
Yes, sir. Mostly.
Mostly. So what's a day look like? Getting up, preparing your horse, feeding your stock, stuff like that. What's a day look like?
Yeah,
out there?
normally we get up around 7 or 7:30 and feed horses, and then most days I would put a goat on a stake and kind of track it around and heel it a little bit, try to just get the fundamentals, and then I would normally go to 12 or 13 roping, and then probably a little higher entry fees, and then we would come back and I would head in some of the lower ones at night, like the 9s and 10s.
Because you can pretty much rope all day, every day.
Yeah, you can rope whenever you want.
And so you stayed there, and then somewhere along there, right around the NFR, you ended up going to Vegas, right?
Yeah, we moved to Vegas. I don't remember what day. December 7th. We went there December 7th, and I roped in the Junior World, the Vegas Toughest, and then the Patriot finale.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about all that. So we had 3?
Yes, sir.
3. All right, let's start with the first one. So how'd that go?
So first we went to the Vegas Toughest, and in the 15 and under, we won the first round. We was 5-2, and then we won second in the second round. We were 6-4, and then we come back and won second in the short round, I think, and then we won the average, and then I won the golf cart for the world champion, and then didn't really do any good at Vegas Toughest, won third in 2 rounds, and then moved on to the Patriot finale, and we ended up winning that.
You won that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you win in that? Was there quite a bit of prize in that?
Oh, I don't remember what exactly we won, but
It was a good,
Yes,
really
sir.
good deal.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
I seen the pictures on Facebook and
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
And then you stayed out there and you've been home since, right?
yes, we come home. I don't remember what day, but we got home and then kind of switched into hunting and trapping mode. And then
Yeah.
Christmas come around, and
Yes.
then now we've been working horses a whole bunch, getting ready to go back to Arizona.
And you go back out there for February, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's the plan then?
Probably just rope.
Just win, baby.
Yeah.
Just
just
win.
win. Rope and win.
Yeah. Because Chris, you stayed a month out there, didn't you?
A little over.
A
Yeah.
little over a month. Yeah. And this is your third?
Fifth
Fifth.
year.
This
Yeah.
is the 5th time you went
Yeah.
out? Yeah. I'm going to have to go back out sometime and try this. I lived out there for about 5 years, but I haven't been able to go back, and I don't have any rope horses to take right now. But it sounds like a good time.
Sounds like a horrible excuse. I mean, I wouldn't know a couple guys that had some for you to borrow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But well, that's pretty awesome. I know you have a lot of success. So behind us here, I don't even know how many buckles are here behind us, and then we have this deal here that has, I don't know, 20
Probably.
in it, and there's, I don't know how many saddles sitting in the room here. So I mean, you've had a lot of success to be 14 years old.
Yes, sir.
And so what does the future look like? What does so you're 14. What does it look like when you're 18?
I would like to be good enough to go pro, and I'll probably go pro for 5 years maybe, and then kind of see how that goes and try to. I mean, obviously, everyone wants to win a world title, and then when I get done with that, I would want to train heel horses.
Train heel horses.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about no college or anything? You're
No,
gonna
probably
rope?
not.
All right. All right. Yeah.
I asked my mom the other day if there was any way I could college rodeo without the college.
You know, if you figure that out, I'm sure there's a lot of people would be interested to know
Yeah.
how to do that.
She said, "Get a good girlfriend."
You get a good girlfriend. Is that right? That's right. That's right. Yeah. So you want to end up training them. So
Yes, sir.
so at 18, you would like to be able to go and compete at the highest level, which would be, you know, the NFR. What about, you know, I've heard a lot about these roping futurities and stuff coming in.
Yes, sir.
Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, that would
future?
be what I would want to do kind of after the pro. After that 5 years, I would want to train heel horses and go to those.
Because it's growing quite a bit.
Yeah, I just think it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of what I think. We had Jade on here a while back.
Yep.
And you went down and rode some with Jade, didn't
I
you?
haven't,
You
no,
haven't?
sir, no.
You haven't been down. Okay. I didn't know if you'd went down.
I'm trying to get him to come up here.
And you and Chris went to Marty's
We went to
together.
Marty's.
Yep, we went to
Yeah.
Marty's. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So talk. I mean, so what do you think you need to go to that next level? I mean, you're a 6 now. You just got bumped.
Yes, sir.
And so what do you find that you kind of need to really focus on to maybe get your number up?
Yeah, what I would say mainly is like consistently catching faster. Like I can if I track them around there, I pretty good chance I'm gonna catch them second and third jump, but just the better like first jump, you know, be more consistent throwing fast.
And so when people start roping and say you're a 4 heeler,
Yes.
what's some of the struggles that 4 heelers deal with roping in a number 8? Because you were a
Headers,
4 and
yes.
you roped in number 8s and
Yes, sir.
9s, and so
The main thing is your headers, they're not always on your team and some of them low ones. And it's like, that's the biggest deal. Second thing, I think the number 8s and stuff, what they struggle with is one, timing. Everybody struggles with that. It's when you're starting out, it's hard to see it. And sometimes it's like still days where I'll come around there, I'm like, oh, I can see it, 3-4 jumps before. And some days you come around there and it's like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to throw.
Yeah.
And that's what I would like to get better at. But back to the lower number ropings, one, your headers are not giving you the same handles every time. And then the next thing is like, I think they just a lot of people just watch videos and then pros just like throwing on the corner every time. When really all they need to do in those number 8s is, they handicap it for a reason, so they just need to like track around there, get in time, and just set a big old trap down there. That's what I did. I had the most luck with just letting the steer clean up after whatever happened in the corner, and then just get in there and just set a big old gate, and that won me the most money.
and then of course when you're heading in the lower number ropings, would just try to take care of your healer the best you can.
Take care of your healers. A lot of them guys will catch them if you give them a good shot through the corner. But what I see the most in the 8s is like the header gets it on them and might not handle them the best, and the healer's been watching Junior, and he tries to throw before the steer is ready, when really he just needs to track him and let that steer get cleaned up and his feet together,
Which would be a patience game.
Yes.
And
that's all healing is patience.
That's what I always struggle with, because you're really excited to get in there,
Yeah.
and then your horse cuts the corner.
Yeah.
Now he's not framed. You spoke
Yeah.
about frame earlier, and then you're just ready to let go of it.
Yeah.
And then in a hurry to dally.
Yeah. I'm always in a hurry to dally.
Yeah. So, well, that's pretty interesting. So what's one of your biggest prized wins right now? Not the prize, but what meant the most to you?
Probably the WCRA meant a lot last July. It was really cool to lead the year coming into that and then go ahead and finish it. And then one next to that is the Junior World. That one was one that really meant a lot to me because I won first and second. I won first heeling, second heading. So, like, that to me felt like that I was equally as good on both ends. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to switch ends and go back to back, that was really cool.
What buckle you wear?
This is actually the one that I won at the WCRA.
It is?
Yes,
It means
there's a
the
world
most to you.
champion. Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Chris brought it up to me in another podcast. I believe it was his idea. He said, we are to start asking everybody what buckle do they wear. Because there's always something behind it. Normally you picked it for a reason. I know my wife was very upset with me that I was training the ranch horse show horses and doing a little bit of the reining and things like that, and I wore the first buckle I ever won. And it was not in any show stuff. It was actually in calf roping, and she was like, why are you still wearing that calf roping buckle? But it meant more to me.
So, speaking of like the story behind something, I heard this in an interview and I thought this would be kind of neat. Give the story as to why you got the name Bronc.
Oh, so my dad obviously raises horses, like we talked about, and he went around town telling everybody he had his best mare in foal. And so he told, when they found out if it was a boy or a girl, he said, told everybody he had a stud colt. Well, then they were like, he's going to be a bronky one.
Yeah.
And that's how I got my name.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When your sister was being delivered, your mom and dad had left, and I was fixing to get on one that was a little bronky. But we did not know he was bronky. And he wasn't bronky in the bucking. It was bronky in the way of running off.
Oh, goodness.
Like completely running off. And luckily I had taken him into the round pen because I think your mom was in labor.
Yeah.
And everybody left, and I ended up, I said, well, I'll take him in the round pen, even though he acts really gentle. And I swung my leg on that horse, and before my right leg started off the other side, he, RUNNOFT.
Yeah, he was not gentle.
Yeah. And I had to get on and he would run around and then just stop. And I'd try to get off, and he'd take off running off again. And he'd had some bad experiences, I think. And if you tried to pull him around, he ran sideways faster than he could run forward.
Oh, that's a scary feeling.
Yeah. But he ended up making a really nice horse, and it would have been nice to kind of have him around for a practice heel horse now, because we made him a slave. Yeah. We healed on him a lot. Yeah. But so that's your biggest achievement, and like next year. What do you set goals?
Yes, sir.
You do? So what's on this goal list?
So my goal this year was to become a 6 heeler. That was my goal, and I did that one.
You did that?
Yep. So my goal next year would to be a 7 heeler.
Okay.
And then my biggest goal probably is like to win the WCRA again, win the all around. I think that would be really cool. And then probably just go back to Vegas and do good out there. But biggest one would probably be a 7 heeler.
A 7 heeler.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Can you tell a little bit about what people that don't know what the WCRA, kind of tell what that association, because it's pretty new, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just like 2 or 3 years old. I think this is the 3rd year. And it's actually always before, they've had it for quite a while. It's been like a pro event. And then now they've started into like the DY youth. And it's in Guthrie in July. And it's just an event for kids, and they pay out a lot of money. It's a really good opportunity for kids to go win big.
So, hobbies other than roping.
Yes.
You've already mentioned hunting and trapping.
Yes, hunting and trapping. And in the summertime, I like to fish. And that's about it.
That's about probably all you have time for.
Yeah, I really don't do much of that.
Hunting and fishing?
Yeah. Really, I go coyote hunting about every night. I love coyote hunting.
Yeah.
And then trap. I have 27 traps out right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were that avid of a trapper. Yeah.
Love trapping.
That's awesome.
And fishing, when there's most of the time in the summer, I don't have time for fishing
Yeah.
because roping all the time. But if I happen to get everything rode, I like to go fishing.
Yeah. And I know you're only 14, but if you could change anything up to now, if anything, what would it be?
I don't know. There's not too much that comes
Not
to
too
mind.
much. That's awesome.
I mean, there's darn sure some
Yeah.
steers I would want back, but
Yeah.
some certain ones. I know for a fact there's one in Arizona last year that I missed for $30,000, and I still makes me mad. I would definitely want that one back. That's a big one.
So how do you handle that because obviously team roping's very competitive
Yes.
and it's a numbers game.
Yep.
And you can do things to increase that or decrease it. So how do you handle that? I mean, say you have a really nice one, but now you have another run for the short go, and sometimes that gets into people's head a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I just try to always think, like, in the short round, if I ever get nervous, like, think of all the steers I've run and, like, the 3 that I did to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have a lot of confidence that if I just get in a good spot and, like, get at least one swing over his back and that he's a pretty decent steer, I can catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of eases me, is just, like, as long as I ride a good position,
Mm-hmm.
I should be able to catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And if that doesn't happen, if I don't ride a good position, that's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ride a good position and swing it over his back and the steer does something, you still get mad, but you can't let that determine what happens on the next run. You gotta leave that there.
Do you get nervous?
Not too bad, no.
Because I didn't think you did.
Sometimes I get nervous. If I get nervous, it's pretty big.
When's the last time you were like super nervous riding into the box?
I had one that in Arizona, I don't know why I was nervous, but like I was scared to ride in the box. I just knew something wrong was going to happen. It was in the short round for like, I don't know, 10 or 15,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not good. So I went out and I just started walking around. I did some jumping jacks and I was like, get out of this phase. It was at Rancho Rio. I was like, you cannot ride in the box how you are.
And
Yeah.
that place can intimidate you a little
Yeah,
bit.
it definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But turns out I healed him and we won like 6,000 or 7,000. But
Yeah.
I was scared. That was the last time I was that nervous. Like I was shaking. After I run, I was shaking. Like I don't know what it was about that.
But to me, you've been to so many big places. Like you've been to Guthrie more times than I've been to Lucky J.
Yeah, I remember we used to go to Guthrie and it was like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome facility, but like it was the place. Like we always talked about going to Guthrie. Like that was a long drive. Now we just run up there and it seems like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But I used to, when I walked in the barn, be like, wow, this is the place. Now I just walk in there and it's like, well, it's Guthrie again.
I'm home.
Yeah, home.
Yeah. It's more like home for you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place to rope?
Oh, goodness. I do like Fort Worth. I think that's a pretty cool place.
Now, when you rope down there, is it the John Justin?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of like how like the tunnels go through there and you ride through the tunnels. I like that. And then Guthrie, it's a nice place.
You can't beat Guthrie.
No, it's,
Have you guys ever roped in the Coliseum at Fort Worth?
yes, I have.
I haven't.
Yeah. I've showed in it once. My horse ran off.
I think when I've roped there 3 times. I think once in the team roping and once in the calf roping and once in the breakaway. And when we went in the team roping, we won like 16,000. And then I went like 12 in the calf roping. I don't remember how much I won. And then I went like 2-2 in the breakaway. Won like a whole bunch. So I like that place. I'm 100% there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I wish I could run them all in that building.
What's your favorite place to rope in Arizona?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You can go top 2. What's your top 2?
I like 40 Arena in Arizona.
Me too.
They have good cows, and if if the cow takes you out of the roping, they will give you another one. Now, if you come around and lay it beside him, they're not going to get another one. But if they believe that the cow did something that was unfair, they give you another one. And then I like Roper Nation. They always have, like, their cows are always honest and they have good roping. It's always well ran.
Did you go to any of those, Chris, when you were out?
Yeah, both.
Oh, you did?
And I would probably agree with him.
Yeah.
Though, now, you didn't go to Flying E, did you?
I never went there, no.
I like it too. It's kind of similar to 4D,
Yes.
but those two would be really close. And then I like Roper Nation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's comparing it to Horns and Hooves and Rancho Rio and all those. I would pick.
Yeah.
I would pick Roper Nation.
I probably roped at Horns and Hooves the most, but they had the most ropings kind of for me. They had some 12s and 13s, and I roped there a bunch in the 11s and stuff. And I mean, I like that place, but it's just a little different how they, like, the cows are kind of bigger, and it just seems a little bit tougher for the ropers, where them other two setups I mentioned, they're like roper friendly. You know what I mean?
All right. So you mentioned at 18 going to the rodeo. Now, have you ever entertained the all-around? Because you've calf roped.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
you haven't steer roped, I assume.
No, I'm gonna, though.
You're going to steer rope.
Yes.
So is that something that you may do when you get into it and do the all-around or timed event championships?
I don't think it would be something that, like, I tried to make the finals in both events. But if I kind of did like Coleman did or like Junior did, or even Chad, he really didn't do 2 events really. But if I like just won enough in the calf roping or enough in the steer tripping and then had like a really good year in the team roping, I mean, you have a shot, you know.
All right. So I see you have a lot of sponsors.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about them, and then I want to talk about your ropes. Let's just start with that. Your ropes, kind of what lay you use and what you like in a heel rope.
Yes, sir. So Cactus Ropes has been a really good sponsor to me. I've been with them for 2 years, I think, and I really like the Future by them. That's mainly what I use for everything. The Future or the Explosion are kind of my 2 ropes. I like the head and heel with both of them equally. Probably like the Future a little bit more for like in the winter, and then the Explosion's a little more in the summer. And I use a soft head rope and a medium soft heel rope. Yep, that's what I haven't really. I've kind of tested out with the mediums a little bit. Like I'll use them like when it's really hot in the summer.
So when it's really hot, will you talk a little bit about what the ropes do in the heat?
So when
And the
it's
humidity?
Yeah, like the humidity, and when it's really hot outside, they kind of get a little bit flimsier. And then when it's cold outside and not much moisture in the air, it gets pretty stiff.
Now, did you vary that going out west this last trip? Because some people I've heard that when they go out to the lower humidity, it affects their ropes a little, and they might change on lays.
Yeah, it didn't really affect much. They might have felt a little flimsier, my heel ropes, but for the most part, my head ropes felt pretty true. Cactus does a really good job with all that.
So what else we have on there?
American Hats. I've been with them for I don't even know how long, ever since I started rodeoing.
Yeah.
And then Revita Equine. I've been with them for 2 or 3 years now. And I use that on all my horses to kind of chill them out because, like I said, sometimes I get nervous and only one of us can be nervous. So that helps them. And then Wrangler, they've been a wonderful sponsor. They keep me fully clothed and everything for quite a few years. And then Little Buster Toys, they've been really good to me and that whole family. Yes, sir.
And speaking of family, so rodeo's nothing new to your family, right?
No, sir.
Okay, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. So my grandpa is Gizmo McCracken, or Dale McCracken. Gizmo, as most people know him.
Yes.
And I don't know how many years he's been being a clown and going all over. He's worked almost every circuit finals and worked the NFR in 2008. I think it was 2008. He worked the NFR and worked about every major rodeo that you can think of. And my mom and my aunt, they were a part of his acts, and I grew up. Used to go with him to a lot. Not as much now because I'm so busy, but I used to go and help him in his acts, and we'd travel all over. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, we might have to get him on here someday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and hear his story because he's pretty much done that all his life.
All his life.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
He said he built his first act in the FFA welding room. So he was in high school when he built his first one.
Yeah.
And still going.
Well, Chris, is there anything else you want to visit with him about a little bit?
Not.
I mean, you guys have spent a lot of time together.
We have.
Roping.
I'm glad to be a part of this, and I'm glad to be a little part of his journey.
Yeah.
To turn steers for him and try to help get him where he wants to go.
Yep. When he first started coming over,
we had to kind of talk your dad into letting you heal then.
Yeah. So when he first started coming over, he's actually the reason I actually first started getting to heal.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Dad invited him over. I don't remember exactly how it went, but he started coming over and practicing. And my dad couldn't always practice all the time. And we were both headers. I was like, Dad, somebody's got to heal for him. So that's how I actually first started.
Yeah.
So basically, he's to blame for all that's happened here. This healing.
Well, your dad wasn't like that to me because he just gave me a rope and let me chase cows, and I had no business chasing a cow when I met him. But he would put me on something and let me chase him, and he never told me how bad it was.
He the exact same for me.
Yeah. It was just trial by fire.
Yep.
But that's where I got started with horses, and then came back here and before you were born, trained behind you guys' old house over there, and provided a place. Your family has always been really good to me, and I wouldn't be able to train horses for a living if it wasn't for them.
Yes, sir.
Because it gave me my start, and I had nothing. I mean, and I couldn't ride. I was terrible.
Yeah.
I have a picture sitting on my desk at home, and I'm in tennis shoes and a cut-off tank top and wearing a pair of gloves in the summer, starting a horse in a plastic saddle.
My dad still talks about that. You were the stupidest guy he
terrible.
knows because
It was terrible.
had a great job and then quit it to ride horses for a living.
And I wouldn't recommend that.
No.
It's kind of the school of hard knocks, but I'm doing what you're doing, and Chris, all three of us have something in common, and that's the deal that if you could go back to the 14-year-old us that you are, and if you gave us a piece of paper and says, if you could be anything in the world, what would it be? And money doesn't matter, because if you take the money out of it, people will be more honest. And mine was to move out west and work on a ranch and ride horses. And Chris's was to coach.
Yeah.
And yours is obviously to do what you're doing.
Heel steers.
Yeah. And there's not many people that get to do that.
Yes, sir.
There's really not, because most people will have something different wrote down on that piece of paper. When I do clinics, I've had people do that. And then I'll say, okay, now raise your hand if you're doing what's on that paper, because we get caught up in the world. And to be fortunate enough to live our dreams, we're very, very blessed to be able to do it, and not many people get to do it. But there is sacrifice.
Yep.
Like you've put in hours. Thousands, tens of thousands of hours. Chris has put in tens of thousands of hours in basketball, not only playing but coaching. You're 57 or 8, Chris?
57.
I'm 47. We still play basketball. Your dad thinks we're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But we still play basketball. We love playing ball too. And we're living the dream.
My biggest blessing is my parents. They've helped me get to where I am and always supported me. And that's what I feel like them people you're talking about, not everyone has that. I'm very lucky to have a good family.
And they've been, like I said, they've been very good. They would occasionally wake up when I was living in Arizona. They would wake up, and I would be on the couch.
Yeah, that's what Dad would say. He'd just wake up one morning and walk out there and just be laying on
Your
the couch.
mom would say, "Huh, hi, Cookie."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would be back for a while. Yeah, but they provided me a place to train, a place to live.
Yeah.
And it was some of the toughest times of my life. But I'm kind of hard-headed, and I didn't want to go back to the office.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that you have to be consistent in what you're doing, what Chris done, what I do, and it's not always easy.
No.
And
When it's 11 degrees outside.
yes, but if you don't have a big enough why, you'll talk yourself out of the try.
Yeah.
Because you'll say, well, it's not. I just don't feel like it today.
Yeah.
But if you have a big why, you don't really have to talk yourself into it. You enjoy doing it.
Yep.
And it's really great that you get to do that. And I wish you all the luck. I mean, I wished I could been around more when you were little, real
Yes,
little.
sir.
But I've been busy. I mean, I think you've come to the barn at 1 or 2 times.
Yes,
when
sir.
you guys didn't have the indoor, just to ride around a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And I know you guys work really hard at it. Your sister used to rope quite a bit.
Yep.
And now she's in college.
Yep. She said she's going to get back to it when she gets her nursing school.
Yeah. And
Which it still irritates you that she can just show up and
Yes.
win
Oh,
roping.
really?
Oh, I say that she is blessed with way more talent than I am.
Yeah?
Because I practice every day, and then she'll just randomly show up, just be like, "Got anything saddled?"
yeah.
and just in her scrubs and tennis shoes, and be like, "Go find me a rope."
Yeah.
And we'll just catch every steer.
Yeah.
Just turn them. It's like, if I didn't rope for 6 months, she had not roped for 6 months, and then she just showed up to our birthday party roping. I mean, it was her birthday, but she just got on a horse and entered and caught every steer.
Yeah.
It's like, if I didn't touch a rope for 6 months, I'd fall off.
Yeah. But it's okay because Chris and I both share this. I don't think anything's ever come easy.
No.
And he's had a lot of athletes over the year, coached tons of people. And he will tell you that he'll take the grinder over the extra athlete for the long haul.
Yeah.
And it's great to be athletic. And occasionally you have someone that's pretty athletic, and then they really want to go on with something. But you have to want to.
Have to want to.
You have to want to. And when you have someone that's a superb athlete, and they have the want to and the drive and that instinct, you call them like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, they're different.
Yeah.
But you got to have it all. But well, Chris, is there anything else?
I think we about covered it.
Yeah. So I guess good luck in February.
Yep,
While
I
you're
appreciate
gone,
it.
I'll be sneaking over.
Yep.
And
And-
I'll
I'm
take pictures.
jealous.
I'll take pictures so there's proof.
He talks about us using his barn, and we try to repay him, but he won't come.
Yeah.
So one day we will repay him for before we had our barn using it.
See, that's where you're confused because I'm still in debt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still in debt to you all. Like I said, you guys have been great to me, and I just try to do everything I can to help. And I want to come over, and I'd like to get back to roping.
Yes, sir.
But well, thanks for coming on here with us, and I'm glad we had some cold weather so we get you in
Yes,
here.
sir.
And
Thank you all for having me.
all right, we'll see you guys later.